This episode is dedicated to the Leadhead family.
Oh yeah, I think I actually watched that one, the strategy, right?
Yeah, he's a really awesome guy.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. Sort of get a feel for you. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was good fun. Very natural guy to talk to. Strategy, a very nice person.
Yeah, it makes me a little nervous though, because like I haven't told any drill sergeants to fuck off or anything. I'm just sort of a boring, run of the mill ex-stoner.
Ex-stoner, not anymore.
No, I quit about 3 years ago, and it's like you're smoking pot every single day. You're just as high as you were yesterday, and I've been sober for 3 years. I'm still just as high as I was yesterday.
Oh right. Oh dear. Yes, you're based in America, is that right?
Yeah, North Carolina.
Okay, is pot legal there? Because it's state by state, isn't it, in America right now?
Oh God, no, but
no. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. No.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
We got our ways.
Yeah, right now I'm in Canada, and I was actually here for the turn of when it became legal.
Oh yeah,
and that was a bit of a crazy day. Going downtown for that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
God, I've never seen so many news vans and I think it's news helicopters as well, just all outside this one shop in downtown Montreal. Absolutely insane.
It, man.
And
it's pretty hot news.
Lines upon the line went for miles just for people to be in line for the first day, and it stayed like that for weeks and months afterwards.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I mean, I wouldn't even smoke it anymore, but shit, I'd get in the line just to say I bought pot legally.
Oh yeah,
that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, that's what I did. It's like I thought, I don't smoke myself, but for the hell of it, I'll buy the cheapest thing they got there just to say I did it. And
yeah, exactly.
Very strange, like a wine shop kind of thing. They just got it all in the back rows and little computers. You pick what you want and they bring it down. Very, very peculiar. And,
yeah, I mean, I believe it. Like stoners are, they're all about like the gear and the flashy stuff. Like I remember when I smoked, I had all my bongs like on display, and my parents fucking hated it. But that's how it goes.
Yeah. Did you have a wide array of bongs?
Oh my God, I still do. I try to get all my friends to take this shit, but I've got like an entire drawer just filled with all this stupid shit. And it's funny, I probably spent like $400 on bongs and dumb shit like that, and I just smoked out of a one hitter, one of those little cigarette shaped things.
Yeah. My cousin's partner works in a head shop. Or used to, I'm not quite sure, and every Instagram post that he makes is like him taking a massive hit of a bong and just tagging 5 people.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's what mine looked like too back in the day.
Yeah. And what made you...
I won't give out any links, but I've got a Twitter page that uses my real name, and I mean, I don't really care if people see it, but it's just like a solid 3 years of just the dumbest shit you've ever seen from right in the middle of my stoner days.
And what made you quit those 3 years ago?
Well, it was like me and my buddy sort of talked about this once because he was just recently getting into smoking pot, but we sort of realized smoking pot helps you ask the questions, and then when you quit, you figure out the answers. And I don't want to go and talk about how great smoking pot is or anything.
Yep.
But it's I feel like it did a good thing for my personality. It sort of made me realize I don't really give a fuck. It's fine. Whatever happens, it's fine. But then at the same time, it made me complacent. I never would have had the initiative to start YouTube or go look for a cooler job or anything like that if I was still smoking pot every day.
Mm-hmm. And so you kind of...
And then it's just a huge financial drain. I mean, I was buying an ounce a month, and that's a lot of money.
Oh God, yeah. So the kind of drive was to be more productive in a sense, or kind of accomplish more than you would have been able to if you were continuing that lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. The other part was just as, I was the typical stoner philosopher type who thinks he's fucking brilliant. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of I wanted to, put those ideas I was having under better scrutiny. Of course, this seems like a really interesting, complicated, revolutionary idea if I'm baked off my ass. Let's see how interesting I am when I'm sober,
Oh, well, that's pretty cool little backstory there. I like it.
Yeah, you never expect it.
No, not at all. when I start off these kind of interviews, I kind of like to give a rundown of people's statistics, like just a very quick thing to see where people are currently standing. And when I started this, when I started getting the questions prepared for this chat that we're having now, you were at 100,000 subscribers, and now you're at 110, which it keeps going up and up and up.
It's still going up around about 1K a day. It's insane. I mean, year and a half, get to 600 subscribers. Next week I'm at 3K. Stay there for 3 months, and then 1 month later, I just boom 110,000. Like I'm sure it's happened to other people, like maybe Wayne's Radio TV with like the whole Sentient AI Half-Life thing. But as far as I know, like I've never seen something like that happen where a channel just goes from I love those first 600 subscribers, but essentially nobody to just like big as hell, like Notch retweets me and shit. It's so weird.
And when you look back at that, is there a particular time that caused that big spike that you saw that you can think, this is what elevated everything?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, because a long time ago, like February maybe, I made this Team Fortress 2 video, and if you watch that blowing up on YouTube video I did, you might have heard this story, but I made that TF2 video. It was about Creators TF, these community servers specifically, and I wasn't even thinking like this, and it caused me to be like negligent and word my script badly. So if you are looking at things from this perspective, it really sounded like I was just telling everyone to just shit on new players and they suck and they have no place in the game. Obviously that's dumb. New players are the lifeblood of the game, but that's the point my script got across, so I took that video down. But anyways, that was a piece of shit video with a really clickbaity thumbnail and title, so it did pretty well for the algorithm, because it was called like TF2 is coming back or something. So if you're a TF2 fan, of course you're going to click on that, and then you're going to watch the first 3 minutes, then you're going to dislike and you're going to leave. And so like the algorithm favored this and the clickbaiting favored it, but it was a bad video. So I got like 3K subs, 200,000 views, whereas before that my best viewed video was like 20,000. So yeah, that boosted my subs a lot, but that happened again at the beginning of June or mid-June or something, and this time it was on an actually really good video I did, Why Half-Life 1 is So Unforgiving. Like I think that was a quality video, and so a bunch of people clicked it, probably because of the whole Sentient AI thing making Half-Life popular again. Except this time it was a good video, so they went to watch all my other stuff, and I've got a huge back catalog of stuff, because I've been doing a video a week for almost 2 years now, over 2 years now. So yeah, I'll go on YouTube and see a video I really like, check out the channel. It's got like 3 videos, one posted 6 months ago, and I'll just say, whatever, I'm not going to subscribe. But when you have that huge back catalog, I feel like that sort of prompts people to more. And then people going through that back catalog, Half-Life 1 video was blowing up, and then that led to my rebuilding my room in VR video blowing up, and that got to like 1.6 million views, which is just insane. And so that's where I feel like the bulk of this momentum came from, but it's stuck because I have that huge back catalog. And when you started YouTube 2 years ago for this channel in particular, I'm not sure if you had a presence before the 2 years ago. Just a bunch of little kid stuff.
Yeah, bits and pieces. What kind of made you kickstart your YouTube channel into actually making things once a week?
Basically, that's a good question. I remember part of it was like, as a dumb stoner, I had my, little stoner other half that would hang out at my house every day. And I got him to play the game Prey by Arcane Studios, 2017. And I was just watching him, and if he's watching this, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just thinking like, yeah, this guy's not paying attention. He doesn't know what's going on. And I'm like, that's bullshit. There's so much cool stuff in this game, stuff that people, you got to pay attention. The game expects you to think some, and that just bothered me to no end, this idea that games are just like, mindless entertainment. And so I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that they aren't, that they're like this serious art form. And that's really the whole point of it all. And then the other thing is simply me playing Metal Gear Solid 3, realizing that Far Cry 3 was trying to do the exact same thing, and I don't know if you've played these games, except Metal Gear Solid 3 did it via gameplay and story, Ludo narrative harmony, whereas Far Cry 3 just did it in the story, and then the gameplay just treats you like a baby. And so that was like, that's my first 2 videos discussing Prey's meta-narrative, and it's stupid. I called it Far Cry 3 Snake Eater, because I'm a genius.
Yes. And is that kind of where the description you have for your Twitter account and your YouTube description where you say games aren't toys, is that kind of where that comes from as well?
Yeah, that's been there from day one. Growing up, I saw these people just, skipping cutscenes. I was doing it too, and that's just so annoying to me now, because I'm like, you got to give context to the gameplay. It's not like I'm going to be emotionally connected to a ragdoll flopping over. I need context. I need a story there too, or at least, something other than just it's fun to shoot the bad guy, just a G.I. Joe doll with a digital gun. There's more to it than that.
And speaking of G.I. Joe dolls with digital guns, did you watch the Xbox presentation they had going on today?
No, I'll check out Halo Infinite at some point, because, with Halo 3 just coming out, been waiting 13 years to play it since it never got a PC release. Blew my fucking mind. I'm so excited to just keep on playing and replaying it with my friends, and I got a video coming up in like a week and a half on it. But yeah, I mean, I don't really care about what 343 is doing. I'm not one of those, like, they ruined the series guys. They can never take away the magic of those first few games by Bungie.
No.
But, it's not for me. No. Maybe Infinite will be better. I'm kind of hopeful for it, but not enough to watch a fucking Xbox presentation.
Now, did you plan on buying a next generation console when those hit the shelves, or are you kind of more a PC person?
I'm always going to be a PC guy, but I will tell you, Hideo Kojima is like my dad. I freaking love him.
He's so good.
He's basically my idol, maybe my favorite person that's alive. And yeah, you can call me a weeb or whatever. But I bought a PS4 specifically to play Death Stranding. And, oh hell, his name is going right over my head. But the creator of The Last Guardian. That's another game. So basically, Death Stranding and The Last Guardian made buying a PS4 worth it, honestly. And then now I get to play the Yakuza games, because they all got remastered for PS4, re-released at least. So that's cool. It's worth it. Fun thing to keep on the bedroom TV. But, yeah, I don't really care about consoles.
No, it sounds like we've got a very similar taste in games, to be honest. Like, Metal Gear Solid is my favourite series. Death Stranding, I haven't played it yet because I don't have access to a PlayStation, because, as I said, right now, I'm in Canada.
It just got released on PC on the 14th, actually.
I know, yeah. But I'm heading back to the UK in about a month's time, so I'm either going to pick it up on the PC or a cheap copy on my PlayStation 4 that I have back home.
Yeah, I really recommend it. When it first came out, like I said, Kojima feels like my dad, so I took a week off working for my actual dad at the time, to just play the game, and I wanted to be the first person to get like a really good analysis of it up. And I did, but I gave it this stupid, pretentious, artsy title, so nobody clicked on it. But that's whatever.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that in one of your channel updates, that you were moving away from the artsy titles to more attention-grabbing ones in the thumbnail, but then you kind of expand on it at the start of the next video. At the start of the video, saying, here's the artsy title.
I can still have my pretentious title, on the title card, but then the thumbnail and the video itself can have that clickbaity title. Because, clickbaiting, if you're like, J Station or something, not to like name drop J Station, that's one thing. That's just you basically trying to like scam kids into thinking Mickey Mouse called you at 3 a.m. or whatever. Yeah. But if I think I have a good message, you could argue it's more virtuous to clickbait, and maybe I'm just justifying shit in my head right now. But it's not like I'm lying to people. It's not like I'm cheating them or anything. I just put a more attention grabbing title and thumbnail. The video still is what it says it is 99% of the time.
Yeah, you still expand on it anyway at the very beginning, so it's definitely not cheating. Yeah. Right now, with the current growth you've experienced on YouTube, you got a few patrons backing you at the moment, 77 to be exact.
Yeah.
Is YouTube your full-time job right now, or is it kind of a side thing you have going on?
It's a total side thing. I wanted to become a full-time job, that's been the dream since YouTube first started. But right now, I'm making like 300 something a month on Patreon, and I love you patrons, but that's not enough to live off of.
No.
And I don't monetize my videos or anything like that, just because I'm 21. I'm embarrassed to say I'm still living at home, but while I am in that situation, I might as well enjoy being able to be all virtuous and not monetize my videos. When I move out, I'll have to take my finances more seriously. And if I'm not one of those lucky channels that somehow gets like 14,000 a month on Patreon, being at like 1.5k subs, 105k subs, then I'll have to monetize my videos because, I got to be an adult too. I saw this great 3 Clicks Philip video, or 1 Clicks Philip or whatever, where he was talking about how like his family sort of showed some resentment for him not putting ads on his videos. Because, like, that's his money you're leaving on the ground. Like, I get it, but people could really use that money,
Yeah.
Might as well take it if you have the opportunity.
I see. And what is your job, if you don't mind me asking, that you do outside of YouTube?
I'm working DoorDash right now. It's not glorious or anything, but pays decently, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh,
and it's compatible with my... fuck it attitude.
And in what ways is it fun? Why do you enjoy jobs where you that kind of job?
I'll tell you this: if I lived in a big city, I would absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
But living in a small town, I just get to cruise around this town I love every day. Before I did DoorDash, I would just drive around for 5 hours sometimes at night, and at least an hour every night, sometimes 5. I just love driving, there's something about it. It's just like the most calming thing in the world for me. Unless I'm in traffic on a hot day, I am having a great time if I'm on the road. Even if I'm doing DoorDash, that applies.
Sounds like the perfect job, really. Get paid to drive around and relax.
Yeah, and the pay really is decent. You just gotta sort of learn how to game the system. Because the algorithm is trying to screw you on DoorDash, but you can screw it instead.
In what way is it kind of giving you the jobs that the distances are kind of a bit off and the delivery times make you lose out money?
Yeah, they just sort of give you crap jobs sometimes, and you just gotta not take those. Because if I go to Taco Bell and I spend like 30 minutes in the drive-thru for an order with like a $5 tip, I can make that money twice as fast going to any other restaurant. Like, if anyone here wants to start DoorDash, advice number 1, fucking avoid Taco Bell. They're useless. Like, I don't care if you like them in real life, I don't, but, they are so goddamn slow that you'll just be burning money if you accept any deliveries from there.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, anyone who uses DoorDash to get their food, like, tip more if you're going to get Taco Bell, because you're putting us through hell.
How come you don't do anything like Uber Eats or Deliveroo or something like that?
It's more just that, I mean, one, I want to be my own boss, which, like, yeah, you can do that with Uber Eats and all that, but DoorDash is just sort of the popular one here, and it seems to be more or less fair with how it treats me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of the whole mass contract labor thing, Uber and DoorDash and, hell, even YouTube. But, as far as that goes, I think that they're handling it well. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like I'm more or less being treated fairly. If I have an issue, their support team gets back to me pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So, I can't complain.
Mm. And looking forward, is there a career aspiration that you have in mind? Are you kind of comfortable with how things are? You kind of, working at DoorDash and doing YouTube, expanding and growing in that area? Or do you have an idea that, okay, in a couple of years I want to move to the city and take this career, or is it kind of laissez-faire right now?
I don't really. This is bad advice to anyone watching, really, but I don't really think about the future, like, at all. Mm-hmm. I just go with the flow. And, that's probably why I'm still living at home. But at the same time, it's like, this YouTube thing's headed somewhere, Like, I don't expect this momentum, like 1,000 subs a day. That's not going to keep up, of course. But it is going somewhere. If that leads to me monetizing or me making a shitload on Patreon or whatever, as long as I have enough to keep a roof over my head and, like, ramen noodles in my belly, I'm good. Smoothie every day, I'll be fine. And beyond that, like, dream-wise, it would be awesome if my, like, YouTube clout somehow led to me becoming, Hideo Kojima, like a director of games. So I don't know shit about programming. Anyone who's kept up with my progress on Silver Smoke knows I can't do anything technical, really. But I would love to tell other people to do technical stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how is Silver Smoke going? I see it's been a fair while since there was an update on that.
Yeah, I mean, I legit haven't shipped an update since I launched the playable teaser, but YouTube's my number 1 priority now. I'm not gonna say it's done for, because I still think it's really good. It's still very personal to me and all that. Well, I won't say it's very good because it's 5 minutes long, but I think it has potential to be very good.
Yeah.
But I cannot be spending, 10 hours a day working on, getting one room just perfect or anything right now. I need to be focusing on the channel, so, because that's where the potential is right now, Someday, when I've got, a bigger audience or whatever, or just more connections, maybe I can get some people to help me out with that. I don't know. I'm not really giving it too much thought right now.
Yeah.
Just because, I got other shit going on.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
The big fear of mine, though, is that I'll just get excited about one of my other game ideas and just completely forget about Silver Smoke and go do that. Because I know this sounds stupid, and I know I might not, but I really do want to finish this thing. I think it'll be great once it's done.
No, it sounds like something that's definitely worthwhile pushing through to the end for that. Otherwise, you can get stuck in that cycle of starting something and then starting something else and starting something else and never seeing something through to the end.
I know all about that, man. It's a miracle I stuck with YouTube for this long because I am just the absolute worst at commitment. You can ask anyone I ever dated.
Well, I didn't dig that far into your past, so don't worry. I'm not going to surprise you with a third person on this call.
Didn't bring up my exes. No. Get a, personal.
No, don't worry. Well, one of the big questions I had for you, second on my list actually, you may have addressed this somewhere, but I may have missed it. Why the pig head?
Well, okay. As for the actual, quote unquote meaning of it, I'm gonna leave that ambiguous.
Oh, okay.
But as for like the pure Spartan utility, I think it's good to have a mascot, and I think it's good to have like a unique selling point. Like I talked about this a little bit in my 100K video, the best YouTubers, but like Jim Sterling, when he does the Jimquisition, he's got like that really weird character, and you will never forget him. This weird guy dressed up in like fascist attire, telling everyone to thank God for him at the end of every video. Like that's memorable as hell.
Yes.
And I don't show up the pig mask in every video, but every now and then you see it, and that sticks with you. So people are like, Leadhead, he's the one with the weird pig mask that makes me scratch my head. Cool. And then it's also like the channel's, I won't say it's sophisticated, but it's definitely going for that tone.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yes, this is serious. There aren't really jokes. It's just me giving my thoughts in a serious way. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. I can get with this. It's all like, not jokey. I can take it seriously. And it's just every now and then you see that really weird shit, and it just throws you off. And I just like that,
Yeah, I totally understand. And when you do the scenes that you're recording yourself with the mask on, have you recorded the audio beforehand and you're listening back to it and making hand gestures to match it, or have you just set up a camera and thought, okay, screw it, I'll wave my hands around and I'll see if it matches?
That's exactly it. And that blowing up on YouTube piece I did, it was all like 90% of the comments were just joking about how my right hand was just like performing a circus act while my left hand was just sitting there. Because it really is just me mindlessly gesticulating to make it somehow hope like I was actually talking. Because there's no way I can record with the mask on.
Oh, good. Or trying to make some sense of flinging around a chicken nugget from Wendy's and some fries.
Yeah, that April Fool's video, man. So I've gotten so many, I won't say so many, not a lot of people have watched it, but I've gotten a handful of comments like who actually think I'm just some guy who works at Wendy's and I'm like a spokesperson. like one dude asked me if you could still order it in Vegas.
I'm not gonna lie, you did fool me.
Pig mask.
Yeah, I got fooled about halfway through that video. I was like, you did it so deadpan that I thought you were genuinely going to make some commentary about like the Wendy's meal. I was like, hang on, what? Then I thought, wait a second, this is really weird. What day was this uploaded? Then I checked. Okay,
yeah, there you go.
Bastard got me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not at all difficult to parody myself. Like I'm pretty fucking close already. It's like it's funny when I'm doing like a parody script for April Fools or whatever. I come at it with the exact same approach I use for my real videos. Whenever I'm writing the script and like coming up with how I want to say what I want to say. Except I just choose a topic that I know is not deep at all. Like Jack and Jill was my first April Fool's video by Adam Sandler. And then I just basically make a Leadhead video on it.
And do you have any other videos on the back burner that maybe not out there as April Fool's, so on the nose or something like Wendy's or that film, but do you have any videos that you want to make that are, say, pretty out there in terms of, okay, is this kind of a bit different to what he usually does?
Well, I will just sort of tease this. I can't say what exactly it is.
Yep.
But there's a trailer for a very cool thing that I'm making, and it's going to be sort of a satire of a Leadhead video. So I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be dropping sometime in the next 2 months, and I'm really hyped about that because there's a good chance that a particular very important person will be reporting on my trailer. So that'll be a good chance for a boost. But aside from all that, I don't know. I like I said, I don't really think about the future. Sorry, my audio just peaked. I don't really think about the future. Like, in fact, this month and the last month have been like the only time since I started YouTube that I knew what I was doing like 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
And even as I say this, I don't know what video I'm doing next week, but I've got the next 2 videos already made. Oh. So that's cool.
That's good, yeah. It's good to have stuff on the back burner, isn't it?
Them and all that.
Yeah.
What was that? It's
good to have stuff on the back burner as a bit of a... in case something goes wrong, in the next few weeks, or, something pops up, you're busy. And it's always good to have a few in the back pocket.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've got a, text document filled with video ideas, but it's sort of like every time I look at it, I'll make it be like, oh, yeah, these are all such great ideas. Come back a month later, what the hell what was I smoking? All these look like awful ideas to me. It's just sort of like a constant changing of my ideas. But one thing I can say is when I go back and look at my old videos, just about every single one of them, I'm like, I'm glad I made that. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to think that is a sign that I only use the good ideas, the ones that I still think are good ideas after months and months. But I don't know, maybe I'm just lucky. I'm definitely lucky. And
when you're working on something, do you pick one thing to work at and see it through to the end, or do you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that? Maybe scrap something, or do you stick onto one topic and see it through from start to finish?
The thing is, like, I put up a video every week, and there is no way to do that other than just set my sights on something, write the essay, do the voiceover, get the editing done, push it out the door ASAP. Mm-hmm. I don't even have time to second guess myself. No. I remember I was speaking to Mandalore Gaming quite a while ago, and he has this interesting way of making videos. He doesn't even write any scripts. He just talks and then stitches stuff together when it works. And I thought that was fascinating. Like, I could not imagine doing that, making a video and not having a script. Yeah, I sort of tried that format, but as you can tell, I'm not exactly the best speaker when I'm talking off script. If you go on my phone, like my Google Photos, there's this very, very old video of me just in the car doing work, just talking like a vlog about why Far Cry 3's game design was ludonarologically dissonant. And it's the exact same thing as my second video, Far Cry 3 Snake Eater, except I'm in the car just freeform speaking, and it's awful. Well, yeah, it's an interesting skill to have. I can't imagine. I think it's the only person I know that does that. There's probably many more, but he's the one that I know. Yeah, I don't really keep in touch with YouTubers at all. I guess I'll probably start doing that soon, but as for right now, I just watch them, and I cannot imagine working with a format. I mean, respect for the guy for being able to do it, but I definitely could not do that. No, it's tricky. You made a video a few weeks ago addressing your growth on YouTube, and one of the techniques you had to stay grounded and relax was you go out and play the guitar on your secondary channel. Got a few videos of you playing the guitar and singing some sing-songs there as well. Alongside this, do you have any other hobbies that you do to relax? And have you run into any problems as well with this big growth that you've encountered on your YouTube channel? Well, as for other hobbies, it's just sort of every now and then I'll just sit down and play a game that I have no intention of talking about on the channel. Mm-hmm. Sorry, just smacked my boom filter. But it's like something like the Yakuza series. Someday I want to do a proper video on that series, but it's like, one, I sort of have to go to Japan and like live there for a year to say the things I want to say about that series. Yeah. Two, it's just a giant fucking rat's nest of plot threads. So I don't really think I'm going to be covering that series anytime soon, but I've invested about like 400 hours into the series, so that's all basically just me killing time. Like, it's usually when I'm looking for a game to play, I'm like, is this something I can talk about on the channel, or will this just turn out to be a huge waste of time that's fun? Mm-hmm. And so games that are just a huge waste of time that's fun, like Yakuza, right now at least, are sort of my other hobby. I don't really like watch TV or anything, but then on top of that, you've just got like driving, really, and overeating. I always say, like, to make sure you have a hobby, because there's some people in my life who don't have a hobby, and I mean, they are making all sorts of mistakes purely out of boredom. Drugs and drinking and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, guitar is basically my main hobby, and I don't really care about that much. And then aside from that, it's just making like meme videos to put on the second channel.
Yes. Yeah, I saw a couple of those. When you hit 1,000 subs a while ago, and you gave the update expressing your thanks to the community, you specifically said something that I caught wind of. It said you thanked everybody for making something out of you. Now that you're past 100,000, what emotions were you feeling at that stage, and how did it compare to when you hit that 1,000 subs?
I don't want to seem ungrateful, but in a weird way, 1K subs felt better. And I think that the big reason for that is sort of the pressure and the stress of, like, again, because I'm sure it's happened to other people, but as far as I know, it's more or less unprecedented to go from basically nothing to 100K subs in a month. Like, I've never heard of that happening. And, it went from, like, a couple of my friends joking around in Discord to, we're just about to hit 1,000 Discord users, and I'll be honest, like 90% of them are really annoying. It's just like, oh no, where's my general chat gone? It's not mine anymore. And now we have to have like our own secret general chat. It's literally called Leadhead's Walled Garden. And then on top of that, you've got like amateur game developers sending me their stuff, and me sort of trying to figure out how to tell them that it's crap and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And people like offering to do work for me or trying to like sell me intros, and it's stressful, man. Like, one of the things when I was first starting off and got to like 600 subs that I really enjoyed was that, like, yes, I had this small group following me, but I was still able to keep up with every single thing. I was able to reply to every comment if I wanted to, and, talk, or like respond to every DM or email or whatever. And, it felt good to be able to like engage and not call them my fans, just other people who happen to like my stuff.
Yeah.
And when you're at 100K subs, you kind of just have to call them your fans, Like, I hate to say it, but there's not enough time in the day to communicate with all of them and get to know all of them as people. Like, I can do a live stream and play some TTT with them every now and then, but that's about it, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was sort of a big source of stress for me, was nobody knows this guy except one random person who had him as like a teacher. But there's this musician named Pierce Edens from around my area, and he had one line that always stuck with me. It was something like, "You don't sell your soul all at once, you sell it a little piece at a time." And that's sort of how it felt, to, like, yeah, I wasn't shilling for, Raid Shadow Legends or whatever.
Yes.
But I quit being able to see my audience as, and I hate to say this, but as humans, like, sure, I'm still grateful for all of them just as much as I am any other, but it's like, I don't have enough time in the day to get to know these people as if they were people. It sucks. Mm-hmm. And that sort of caused me a lot of stress, because I hate having to think about people like that, but it's the only, there's not enough time in the day to do it any other way,
Yeah, the way I've heard it put is fame is like a mask that eats into the face, is kind of the way that I heard that put. But it's definitely an interesting way to in a situation to be in where you just can't engage with so many people at once. Just you don't have the time.
Yeah, it's
impossible.
Like, the last thing I want to do, especially here, is like sound like I'm dehumanizing them.
Oh God, no.
And it's not me dehumanizing them, it's just a law of physics that when there's 100,000 of you, you're dehumanized a little bit, and it sucks, and I freaking hate it, I really do. But again, it's like, when there's that many, there's going to be like the really annoying ones who are there every day and are being very loud, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't just mute them for being annoying, I can't kick them from my server just because, they're annoying to me.
No.
But then they just sort of color my perception of the whole group, like a few bad eggs situation.
Mm-hmm. And
it just makes me want to not engage, which really sucks, because, again, like, I owe these guys everything, and it sucks that I can't express my gratitude in a more genuine way, really, outside of, like, YouTube videos. I can talk the talk, but I can't walk the walk, you know. I can't be in the Discord every day thinking every single person who sends me a DM. It's weird.
Yeah, I totally understand, and well, I don't understand. I listening and I can appreciate, but right now I haven't hit 100,000 subs myself.
You will. I like this channel a lot.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bit I've seen.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And on your channel, is there more than just yourself working on it, or is it 100% you? Like you do all the thumbnails, the recording, the designing, from start to finish?
Yeah, it's 100% me. You know, if I were to expand in some way, which I have no plans of doing this, I might take on someone else to help with the editing or something.
Yeah.
But right now, it's like, you know, that's my baby. Don't touch my baby.
Yeah. And you probably got quite efficient at it as well, I imagine, from all doing it once a week for so many years. Like, you know, how to record stuff, how to edit it, how to mark it for easier finding, all the bits and pieces.
I'd say I'm decent at all of those except recording. I'm getting a new mic set up next month with my next Patreon payout, but I am still an amateur. You'll see when you look at this audio I send over your way.
Oh, lovely.
I'm awful at that stuff.
What setup do you plan on rocking with the upgrade?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to settle on a VO1, studio mic. Other than that, I have no ideas. I'm still taking suggestions from the audience. As for like the processor and all that, because I'm done with USB mics. That's baby shit.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like pearls to swine. You know, I will not be able to appreciate the intricacies of how to use a VO1 and a proper preamp and all that stuff. But I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's not too crazy. You can save a lot of money buying secondhand, I will say. That's what I did. I went secondhand.
That's the plan.
So you can get a good price. Do you use a laptop or a desktop?
I'm desktop. I have a shitty Chromebook I got for work a couple years back, and that's it.
Okay. Okay, that's all right then. I was going to say, because I have a gaming laptop, and I have a audio interface preamp with an AT2020. And I had this issue where I was just getting this constant background noise no matter where I was. And if when you do an audio recording in Audacity, you kind of get it so the peaks it fills up a good chunk of the recording space, the peaks and the troughs.
Yeah.
And no matter what I did, like I always would have to have mine really, really small and then amplify afterwards, because if I had the gain too high, it just sounded terrible with this background noise, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. But it turned out my laptop, even when plugged in, had a power saving mode for the USB settings. So all my USB peripherals were being underpowered, which includes the preamp. So oh god, I couldn't believe that was the issue. Like I thought because I was new to preamps and all that stuff, I thought I was just messing it up, like my settings were wrong, or like I didn't have the ideal recording space. But it turned out to be stupid computer settings, so keep an eye out for that.
Let me just say to any laptop manufacturers that might be listening, like quit it with the fucking not shovelware, with the bloatware, man. Like
so bad.
We can manage our computer's batteries. Everyone I ever know who had a laptop, like those power saving settings were the bane of their existence.
Yeah,
it's so silly.
Yeah, if it was unplugged I could understand, but while plugged in it just baffles me. Absolutely.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do that stuff, like that's fine. Just at least be transparent about it. Because I mean, I've got so many people who are like, yeah, I cannot even for the life of me figure out how to turn off these power settings because it's like somewhere in the NVIDIA control panel or something. That's ridiculous.
It's gross. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I did have some other questions for you here that are a bit more specific to the videos that you've made in the past. One that popped up. Besides Yakuza, what other games do you find have done quick time events well?
That's a good one. Not a lot, honestly, and that's probably because I haven't played too many fighting games.
Yep.
One thing that stands out, and you'll know about this, is Metal Gear Solid. It's not really quick time events as much as it is button mashing sequences.
Yep.
But I will always have a special place in my heart for button mashing. It's just so cool to me, this idea of, you've really got to strain yourself in some of those. Metal Gear Solid 2 especially, that one is like the most ridiculous quick time or button mashing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But you feel some of Snake's pain. You feel some of Raiden's pain there. I always thought it'd be really cool if you had to squeeze the controller as hard as you could, like if they could somehow implement that. That'd be a cool little alternative to button mashing without so many exploits, because like there's a million tricks to button mash faster. Actual QuickTime events though, I mean, in that video, I sort of used Doom as an example of a similar concept, ludology-wise, executed in a more organic way. But really, I mean, there's not a lot of good examples of QuickTime events out there, but when they are done right, I freaking love them.
Yeah, that they can be very good. The one thing that I find about Kojima is he really thinks outside the box in the way of using inputs as a way to expand the gaming experience and the narrative he's trying to portray. So, you've got the button masher sequence, you've got the change in the controllers for Psycho Mantis, reading the back of the box for the codes. That's off the top of my head, and there's probably 1,000 others. I don't even know about Death Stranding. He may have done something there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that stuff in Death Stranding, but that's one of my favorite things about Kojima is nothing is off limits for him. Like, I don't know if you know this or not, but during the development of Metal Gear Solid 1, he wanted to coat the disc in a substance so that whenever you got to the Psycho Mantis fight, your disc drive would speed up on the PS1 and your room would start to smell like blood. But of course, you can't cook things inside of a PS1, so that got scrapped quickly. There'd be many legal problems and safety hazards with that. But that's the sort of idea that we all love Kojima for.
Yeah, I had no idea he tried to do that. I love it. I absolutely love it.
He's a lunatic. It's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, I've got a tattoo that was inspired by Metal Gear. Not a copy. I like to say inspired. It's D-Dog playing a game with a controller.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty fun. Another question for you related to your videos. You're going to get... there's quite a few questions like this, so I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything. It's just I've gone back and this is what I've picked up. Outside of Prey, what other games do you find have done environmental comedy well?
Environmental comedy, I would say... Well, there's this weird sort of blend to praise environmental comedy. I assume you're referencing my comedy and gaming video.
Yep.
Specifically with that Prey example, there's a couple other things like Gluey McGlueface and the guy stuck in the rafters with the notes saying he was sending neuromods back to his mother. But a lot of that game's environmental comedy came from like notes and readable objects and audio logs and that stuff too, sort of giving context to the environment, like whatever the hell his name was, the idiot that got lost in space. That's funny, especially when you hear those audio logs about him being completely incompetent.
Yes.
And reading about him getting fired and all that. And one of my favorite examples of that is BioShock. When you first get to... I can't remember what the actual place is called, but the greenhouse. One of the first things you see is this guy talking about how he's taken this, girl of the night out for a date and how she's really been getting around, so he's going to bring a med hypo with him, so he doesn't catch anything. It's like this sort of almost meta joke, because med hypos they're just med kits with a different name. It's just silly video game stuff, but he's like, yes, this is a real thing in this world and it will protect me from STDs. Yeah, that's really funny to me. And then, but again, that sort of rides the line on what is and isn't environmental comedy. There's all sorts of little things like Yakuza Judgment, which is a side game where you play as a Yagami, a private eye. Every single time you're doing like a investigating the crime scene minigame, there is a cat somewhere, and you just have to listen for your audio cues, left or right audio, to figure out where it is. And I assume there's an achievement if you find all of them. I didn't find all of them, but you'll just be investigating. Like there's a dead body right there, and you'll just be spinning in a circle for 20 minutes trying to find the cat, just so that Yagami can say, "Oh, look, a cat." And then get on with his investigation. The Yakuza games are, of course, very silly. I don't know. Not a lot is jumping off, right off the top of my head. Metal Gear Solid did some of that with, the guy peeing on Raiden towards the end of the tanker, or the plant chapter.
Yes.
There's a bunch of examples, but no game that I can think of is, loaded with it like Prey is. Where there's a million examples in one game. It's just sort of isolated incidents from tons and tons of different games.
Mm-hmm. And how would you say environmental comedy is defined in this aspect? For example, let's say Yakuza. Would you define Yakuza the way that it gets its laugh as environmental comedy? Is it the windows of the jokes, or is it interpolated the
every
gameplay?
Comedy trick in the book.
Yeah.
But as for environmental comedy, I'd say the main thing, and I sort of touched on this in the video a little bit, is the fact that the player's own curiosity leads to the joke. That makes it so much funnier, if you ask me. Because, like I said in that video, games have way more time to sort of let the jokes ring out, because they don't have to rush you along like a film does.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I even used a very slow-paced film, Doctor Strangelove, as my example, because even a film like that does have to keep on moving, but a game can just sort of sit there and let you think for a while. Even an action game can do that. And so yeah, it's that curiosity, leading the player to ask their own questions and get their own funny ass answers out of it. That's sort of what I define as that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's something as like, you have to pick up the audio log and choose to listen to it, like in BioShock, that guy with the med hypo.
Yeah, that's great. In one of your videos, you described that branching narratives often show how you would fare in games if you were in the game's world, if you would act the way you do in real life, as often people project themselves onto the character for their first playthrough.
My I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream video.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that one. From this, have you ever learned anything about yourself from the outcome of an action in a game? So you acted how you think you would have acted and something happened and it kind of changed the way you thought?
Well, that's an interesting question because, it's like different games are going for entirely different stories, like no matter what you're doing, no matter how much you try to accommodate for every political or religious or whatever mindset, you're still going to be writing from your own perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot escape that bias no matter what you do. But sort of a broad lesson, I would say, that a lot of games have taught me with branching narratives is just the idea that, there is no such thing as concrete morality. There's always going to be, you'll think that the answer is obvious, but then it'll turn out to be a little bit more complicated. Like, I don't know if you've played Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
You see Caesar's Legion, you're like, this is the worst fucking guy ever. He's got tons and tons of slaves, he treats women like property, he's awful. But then you go and talk to him, and he's probably the smartest character in any Fallout game. He's just got a couple really, really bad ideas.
Yes.
But he's way more understanding of how culture works and how civilizations work than anyone else in Fallout. Like, I would say, obviously this changes depending on how you play New Vegas, but if the Courier wasn't involved, Caesar's Legion would be, like, the best bet for the longest standing society. Like, NCR is going to fall apart, the Enclave, all those guys, they're all going to fall apart. Caesar's Legion, I think, would have been fine without the Courier.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, again, like, I'm getting obsessed with lore right now, but I that idea that you can approach a situation thinking you know what the best option is, and then just one little account from one character can completely change your perspective on it, or at least challenge your perspective on it. That's sort of a good life lesson to take with you. Every waffle waitress has something to teach you.
Yes. It's very good. Your most popular video was your VR video, which was slightly earlier, and you meticulously laid out your room in VR. Since that video, have there been any updates to the software to improve the experience? Because it's been quite a while since that video was released.
Not that I know of. Not anything, sort of in the direction I was wanting to take it, which, like I said, Valve's priorities for this software are probably something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people have suggested to me, like, different programs that sort of do more what I'm doing. Some people have even offered to literally build my room in the Hammer map editor, which seems like a bridge too far to me. But like, that's a cool idea and all, but it was more of a thought experiment on my part, and I tried to get that across in the video, but I guess I didn't do a very good job because all these people just think I'm the VR bedroom guy. And that was really just like something I did just to sort of think about the future for a little bit and then move on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would still be using it more, but I had to recalibrate my Vive Cosmos, that piece of shit headset. Nobody buy a Vive Cosmos. And so my virtual room is no longer in sync with my real life room, and I just have not had the energy to redo all that meticulous bullshit to get it all lined up again.
Yeah.
So I have not been in the VR room for a while now.
No. Do you still play VR much? Are there any games you're playing?
Oh, yeah. I still do a lot of VR. Because, I mean, it's like, yeah, Alex is really, like, the only super, super great game for VR.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of fun stuff, like, just the other night, me and my friends had a movie night in VR chat watching Starship Troopers, one of my favorite movies.
Nice.
And that's a lot of fun, like, you can all sync up your Netflix feeds or whatever, but when you're in VR, you can really feel the person on the couch next to you, and there's definitely something to be said for that.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, like, Pavlov is fun.
That's good.
Playing like No Man's Sky. I'm about to try that out probably later tonight. There's all sorts of fun little things to do in VR.
Have you tried Hellblade in VR?
No, I really want to. I have not played the original PC, flat screen release, but I really wanted to try that. The fact that it's a third-person game sort of makes me nervous because I'm very vulnerable to motion sickness. Even though I love VR so much, I'm gonna try it out pretty soon though, because they probably figured out a good workaround, like a fixed camera perspective or something.
Yeah, I remember playing it a while ago. I never finished it though. But the experience was very cool. There were some certain points in the game that the VR really enhanced it, so I definitely recommend it. I don't know if you have I think the VR version comes free with the original as well. I can't remember buying it twice.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I might look into that pretty soon.
Yeah. I remember Rec Room as well was a pretty good one. Don't know if you ever played Rec Room.
I swear to God I've heard the name, but it's losing my mind what it is.
It's a free game, so you had to pay for it. It's got lots of mini games basically. So there's like paintball and archery and other things like that.
Oh, that's the one from
it's
Valve,
very simple.
Right?
No, this is a different one. Valve was something else. It was like VR Workshop or something. I forget. But this is something completely different. Yeah, the lab. That was the lab. But this one is kind of kiddish in its simplicity, but it's good because it's simple. Like it's paintball.
Yeah,
you shot, you're out. It's good fun.
My thing is like I sort of call those the dad VR games. I'm trying to play Half-Life Alyx. I'm trying to play Boneworks and Walking Dead, Saints, like real games that are VR games. Not like Wii Sports. Not that I have anything against that stuff. It's just there's only so long that stuff is entertaining to me. Like when I think VR, I think I want to do something that I literally cannot do in real life, like kill the Combine.
yeah, I get you. Speaking of your motion sickness, how is the Vertigo going? Is it getting better? Because I think you had a video about 6 months ago where you mentioned it in passing at the end. You were looking at medication or something. Is it improving?
I think. My Vertigo is fucked. That's part of the reason I like DoorDash, is because if I'm feeling bad, I can just say, nope, you know what, my shift's over, fuck it. But I haven't had a proper Vertigo attack since around the time I made my last Guardian video, so like September of last year, I think. I always feel like I'm on the verge of it, where it's like, oh man, I better not take one extra hit from my vape. I better not, drink one more sip of coffee than I need to, because it could lead to a Vertigo attack. And I think that's mostly me being paranoid, because, man, they're awful, and I'm definitely paranoid about them. They just put me out of commission for like a week. But I think I'm going to have to like not have a Vertigo attack for like 5 years before that paranoia goes away. And then that's the other thing, is like, what if this thing's psychoactive? What if I'm just fooling myself into thinking I'm about to have a Vertigo attack, and then that actually happens? I don't think of myself as a stressful, stressed out, anxiety-filled person, but I might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely anxious about the Vertigo. And it's not huge. It's not like it's ruining my life or anything, but it is stopping me from getting some jobs. There were some jobs I've turned down, or like said, all right, I'm not even going to bother applying for that, just because I know if I was standing around in one place for 8 hours, I would feel like shit Vertigo-wise when I got off the clock. And like I wouldn't even want to drive home. It'd be that bad. It's weird. Like just very particular situations sort of set me off and make me feel like I got to get out of here, or I'm gonna have a Vertigo attack. Like waiting in a drive-through does it sometimes, which sucks because I work for DoorDash, but whatever. And then like just going,
so not Taco Bell.
Yeah, and like going to the grocery store messes with me. I don't know. It's very particular situations that I just sort of have to avoid. Like, it's been so long since I've been out to eat with my family or my friends at a restaurant. Like, I sit in a restaurant just because I just don't trust that I'd be able to do it. I can't go to concerts. And made a couple dates very, very awkward. Where I just sort of have that 1,000-yard stare while I'm trying to eat my sushi.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh dear. So does medication help at all for Vertigo? I'm quite ignorant when it comes to how Vertigo works.
It seems like everyone is, because my doctor sure haven't helped at all. What works the best for me is to just get a good ass smoothie every morning, which maybe it's a placebo, maybe it actually is a blood sugar thing, I don't know, but if I make a proper smoothie with all this healthy shit in it every morning, I generally feel okay. I just sort of have to watch out, there's all sorts of things that I need to, maintain my vape usage. Back when I smoked cigarettes, that could sometimes cause problems, all that sort of stuff. And it's just weird, man, because smoke pot, drink like a freaking fish every night, didn't bother me at all. And then just randomly one day, I was playing Grand Theft Auto, the PC port, GTA 4, with the low frame rate and the, drunk camera and all that. Just had a vertigo attack that lasted 3 days. The worst spinning you've ever felt, like blackout drunk spinning from your faint memories of being, I guess, brownout drunk.
Oh, God.
That bad. Can't keep down anything, can't eat a single saltine cracker without throwing up. And, so I play it pretty safe, because it's a bad situation when it happens.
God, I don't blame you. It sounds a very tricky thing to navigate.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And, some weeks it's worse than others. Like I said, I haven't had a proper attack in almost a year now, but, some weeks I'll really feel like I'm on the verge of one, and I just don't want to do anything but lay in bed. Other weeks I'm golden. So it's just a tricky situation for someone who, like everyone else, needs a job.
Yeah, interesting how VR doesn't seem to trigger very much.
Yeah, no, Boneworks didn't mess with me at all, which is incredible, because it almost seems like it was made to make me sick.
Yeah. Looking back at another one of your videos, why your kids should play Halo, you described there were many positive memories that you had in your childhood with your childhood friends playing Halo games growing up. Seeing as how the gaming landscape has changed so much since back when Halo 1 and Halo 2 were released, do you think that younger people will form the same types of memories as you did back when you played Halo?
Everyone talks about the kids are just playing Fortnite nowadays, they don't give a fuck. I say that's stupid. You can give a kid a million iPhones, give them hours and hours and hours of Fortnite games. They are not going to stop being imaginative creatures, Every kid is still going to be looking up at the stars and wondering what's out there. They're still going to be playing with sticks in the yard. Maybe not quite as old as they did when I was young and when my dad was young and all that. But, young kids still want to pretend to be a badass space marine fighting aliens. And, Halo, I think, will always have the power to open up someone's imagination. And I don't really know if that applies to the new 343 games, because I haven't played those, but the classic Halo can absolutely do that. Tons of other games can absolutely do that. Halo was just sort of a broad example of the type of emerging sandbox gameplay that I think provokes a kid to ask weird questions that tell them about themselves. I don't think that's going away. There were a lot of naysayers in the comments on that one, but I think that games like Halo will always have the power to open up a kid's imagination, even if there's a million other games they could be playing. Halo just has a way of grabbing you.
Even with the rise of online gaming compared to local multiplayer?
Yeah, I think so, because the difference with that is that you're playing with random people rather than your friends. But I think that only matters to a certain degree, and I think that kids are still playing with their friends a lot. Because, I know when I was, 14 maybe, when multiplayer online gaming was, the only thing to do, and, local multiplayer was sort of dying, I know I was still playing with my friends every day, same people I always played with, whether they were real-life friends or online friends or whatever. It was still the same people, and I think that's an important part of forming those memories, because I can think about a funny moment I had in TF2, but if I haven't had a million moments with that person, I'm not really going to remember it. But yeah, I think the games like Halo definitely still have that potential, no matter how many iPhones or whatever you give a kid.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time I turned on microphones in a chat, in a game chat. I had to speak to people.
Yeah, no, but I'm sure that you're probably in Discord calls a lot, talking to your actual friends. I don't use in-game comms much myself either, but I'd love playing a game like Team Fortress 2 with my friends. Yeah,
it's actually been quite a while since I've played a multiplayer game like that with friends. Usually I end up having Skype calls and we play board games on a web page with my friends, because they're not really big gamers, to be honest. But my original gaming friends is back in secondary school. We don't really play much right now because, we're 26 and stuff, so life moves on. But, even back then when local multiplayer wasn't such a big thing as well, we used to we didn't use Discord. Discord wasn't really a thing back then. I don't know if you remember Mumble. Did you ever use Mumble?
No, I was a TeamSpeak guy back in the day.
Okay. Yeah, we had a Mumble server, and it became a verb, like mumble.
Yeah.
I mean, help me out. So, we had the same thing, but not, online as well. So, I agree that people will still be making those same memories.
Yeah, I think it's like an immortal thing. Before video games, kids were doing the same thing, just going out and camping, which, some might say that's better. I say it's all the same. As long as the kid is out there using their imagination, you're good.
Yeah. Looking back at the videos you've made, is there one that you're most proud of?
If you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said my Metal Gear Solid 2 video from, the first, 6 months of my channel. I spent, 5 months on that script. Now it's probably the Disco Elysium video, which I know just about nobody knows what that game is, but even now when I watch that video, the guy who wrote the fucking script and edited the thing, I still get chills down my spine, so that's how I know it's a good video.
Yeah, when I've watched your videos, I watched probably about 3/4, as many as I could in a week, basically. Mm-hmm. That was my favourite one from the ones that I watched, was Disco Asylum. Mostly because I haven't played it myself. I do want to play it now, but I felt like I understood the message you were trying to portray in the video.
That's all I want to hear, because I sure was waxing poetical in that video.
The thing that I took away from it was... I've got to try and describe it in my words now, is attempting to find meaning when there is no meaning, or attempting to find meaning for yourself in such a big world. Or the way, or another way I thought about it was the thoughts that you have on a long car journey. When your imagination kind of runs wild for 6 or 7 hours.
Exactly. It's like you caught up in your own head, See, there's a million different ways to approach that game. You can just be like the guy who wants to bring disco back by reestablishing the Soviet Union or whatever. But, the way I approached it was how I approach my own, philosophy when I'm, in those long car rides. Just me thinking, how do I relate to the rest of the world? And am I an artistic person? Am I a work of art as a person? Because art is the thing I care about. That's what I'm all about. First word of my Tinder bio is art.
Yes.
And it's just like, there's so many different ways to approach it. And for me, that whole what am I really thing is that's the angle I took it from. And it's, how many games can you say something like that for?
Yeah.
It's really something special.
I'm fascinated to play that now. Yeah. It looks really, really good. Only got about 3 more questions written down here for you, so I won't take up too much of your time. The next one I had was, looking back, you had positive experiences reaching out to larger YouTube channels when you were smaller at the time, in particular, Accursed Farms.
Yeah.
Looking back at this, have you had any other memorable experiences reaching out to other content creators besides Accursed Farms?
I really haven't done it that much because I don't want to take up their time, and other than that one song from Galaxy Gulp, there's not really a lot I've needed from them. I'm not one of those to go and send someone a long message saying I'm their fan. For me, it's just the numbers speak for themselves. This guy has 250,000 subs. He knows that I'm his fan, whether he knows me or not. He knows he's got a fan out there. It's like I just don't really want to bother them. Sorry, that's a lame answer, but it's just it's not my place to just sort of go and mess with their day. I almost felt bad when Ross emailed me back, offering to dig through his computer. I'm like, geez, he wasted all this time replying for me just for me to say, don't bother.
Oh dear. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm always surprised when people reply to me when I send out these messages saying, hey, would you like to do a chat at some point? And it always surprises me how positive people are. Yeah, sure, I'll be happy to do that.
I mean, if they're anything like me, this is their first interview. This is an exciting thing for me.
Yeah. For some people it was. Some people have done more in the past. They all love doing what they're doing and love making content, and they know where other people are coming from as well in their requests. So they're very understanding, and always, makes me happy to see these people being so supportive of other channels as well. Last two questions I had for you here. In regards to your Far Cry 2 video, I played that game a long time ago, closer to its release date. Do you feel in Far Cry 2, when the map changed so suddenly in the middle of the game, that had a negative effect on the narrative the game was trying to portray?
That's a tricky question. For me, like, I could give or take Far Cry 2's actual story. There's a bad guy, he's selling guns, got it. But the thing that was really interesting to me in Far Cry 2 was the sense of, like, you're just like some fucking hungry wolf out in the middle of the woods trying to kill things without getting killed. And it really, and I tried to get this across my video, I'm probably going to do another someday because I don't feel like I did a great job at it, but it really feels like the world itself is the main antagonist, and, all these enemies are just animals in this world. Same with, like, the navigation can be super dangerous. If you're looking down at your map, you're probably going to crash at some point, that sort of stuff. And while I wish it wasn't as water-centric, I think that the second map, that sudden shift to, oh my god, I'm here now in this whole new place, I think that did a great job to sort of reestablish, like, oh, you feel like you've conquered this world, you've got a mortar launcher, you've got a flare gun, you've got all these cool guns. You haven't conquered shit, buddy. It's like, you're not gonna beat the chaos of this situation. And I think that sudden shift to the second level did a great job at that. Getting that across and sort of bringing you back to that sort of sober realization that you're just some fucking guy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when I played it, all that time ago on the 360. I think I got to that point and I quit. I was like, okay.
I said, it's so water-centric that the game does sort of lose me there. But I think in concept, in theory, it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. And my last question that I have written down here for you, it's quite a short question, but I think it's an interesting one. Do you think that art can mix with science?
I guess you probably watched my Bioshock video.
Yeah, that's where that one came from.
It's sort of a broad question. I think it can, absolutely. I mean, like, look at something like Star Trek. The whole art influences life thing. We have cell phones now, and Star Trek was probably a big part of that, honestly. But as for, like, artistic science itself, artistry in the act of science, that's a tricky one, because for science to be good, it has to be precise. You don't want to muddy it up with your own personal feelings. But then at the same time, I would say that there is some artistry to, like, an Einstein or a Newton for having these unique ideas. It's like, having the idea itself, I would say, is the artistic side of it, where your own personal, like, perspective and views and biases come in the way. And then the execution itself needs to be totally unartistic. And then, like, Einstein's theory of relativity, that is good art only if he can present it and test it in a non-artistic way. It's a tricky situation. But like I said in that video, like, medical science definitely should not be mixing with art. There's, like, plastic surgery, you could call that artful, and it is, but that's not science, that's just performing a procedure.
What about, say, those exhibitions where they put bodies on display in different positions?
That stuff, yeah, I'm all for that sort of thing. And yeah, that's an interesting example. But again, it's like, yes, the point of it is to showcase the human body to, like, kids and stuff so they can learn. But then they're doing it in an artistic way, so, cool, good for them. I think art can mix with just about everything. It's just a matter of when and how it should. I don't want to mix artistry with how I manage my finances. I'm not trying to make a poetic statement out of, burning all my money on loot boxes.
No. What stage does art influence it? Like, you don't want to mix art with insulin.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be a...
you certainly can, but ethically you probably shouldn't.
No. No, exactly. Oh, dear. Well, on that note, I got to say it's been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you this evening. I do really appreciate you coming down for this. and everyone can find you on YouTube. You have your two channels. You're Leadhead on YouTube. You've also got Twitter and Patreon. They can also find you there.
Yep.
Do you do any Twitch stuff as well? Anywhere else they can find you?
No, like I do some quote-unquote live streams on my Discord, but, I don't really have the internet to do actual live streaming. It's more just you guys hang out and watch me play Hitman or something.
That sounds good to me. Leadhead, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, man. It's been great.